Yeah, very good morning once again. Uh, I welcome you all for technical session one. There is a quote by Albert Einstein: try not to become a man of success, but rather to become a man of value. It means the success is more important. Sorry, the values are more important than the success. Human society may not significantly sustain without human values. Hence, it is necessary to talk on the subject and bring out the awareness of human values into the modern society. Today, we had a technical chairperson, Professor Subhash Sharma, Director, Indus Business Academy, Bengaluru, who is an academician, administrator, editor, author, scholar. So now I request Professor Lakshman Sir, Professor of Department of Commerce, Davangere University, Davangere, to introduce Professor Subhash Sharma Sir.
Thank you, sir. So, online faculty development program and application of artificial intelligence in business. We are organizing. ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಸರ್? Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, application of artificial intelligence in business. Nowadays, we require in business artificial intelligence required in every walk of our life, in business, in commerce, etc. But in this context, the application of artificial intelligence in business we are organizing, sponsored by AICTE Training and Learning Academy, organized by Department of Studies in Commerce, Davangere University, Davangere. Very good morning, all of you. We already completed the inaugural session. I am Dr. Lakshmana P, working in the Department of Commerce. Honorable Vice Chancellor and President of this program, Professor Sharanappa V. Halse, respected Registrar Administration, Professor Gayatri Devraj Madam, Professor Enita H.S., Registrar Evaluation, Professor J.K. Raju, Dean, Commerce and Management, the respected registrar members, syndicate members, Priyanka D, Finance Officer, the Chairman of the Department, Dr. Srinivasa KT, the Coordinator of this program, Dr. Satyanarayana, my dear participant, my esteemed colleagues, and my dear student friends and research scholar. I am very glad and delighted to introduce Dr. Subhash Sharma, the inaugurator of this FDP program, and at present working as a Dean and Director of Indus Business Academy, Bangalore. So Dr. Sharma did his PhD degree from University of Southern California, USA, and a PG Diploma in Management from Indian Institute of Ahmedabad, Gujarat. He wrote many books, such as Management in New Age. He authored of many books. He has made a significant contribution to institution building particularly. The member of Women Institute for Studies in the Development of Oriented Management at Banstali University, Rajasthan, the founder director of Indian Institute of Plantation Management, Bangalore. He is a recipient of Excellence Achievement Award and Leadership Award, awarded in academic receipt by PES University, Bangalore. So Lifetime Achievement Award by Association of Indian Management Scholar, Houston. So anyhow, he published many articles in reputed national and international journals. He did a lot of work in the field of management on human resource, but give only a concise brief profile. So this is a concise profile of Dr. Subhash Sharma. So he will deliver the human value and the ethics in first session of this program, and the ethics in management and leadership. We really happy and fortunate such a senior practical man accepted our invitation to inaugurate and deliver this session. Once again, I cordially welcome you, sir, on behalf of all of us here. I thank the chairman of the department, Dr. Srinivas KT, and the coordinator of this faculty development program, Satyanarayana, for giving an opportunity to introduce about Dr. Subhash Sharma. So, these are the days we are searching for human values, ethical values, moral values, and spiritual values. So we require very much. So I wish the whole program will be grand success. Thank you. Thank you, one and all. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lakshmana. I'm happy to talk about a theme which we can call ethics in management and leadership. When you look at the idea of management and ask this question, why ethics in management and leadership, then we can see 4 eras in management thought. The first era started around 1905 or 1910 is known as scientific management, where the idea was to use the principles of science to manage the resources in the institutions and organizations. Then after around 50, 60 years, the second era came, what is known as human side of management. Because in addition to machines, human beings were also considered important. Then by the time 1980s, the idea of good governance caught the attention of corporate world, and therefore the idea of ethics and values became significant. Then by the time we entered the 21st century, the idea of spirituality in management or spiritual side of the management started catching the attention of the scholars and also practitioners. Scientific management was rooted basically in engineering and economics. Human side of management was rooted in the field of psychology. Ethics and values were rooted in philosophy, and spirituality is rooted in the idea of new consciousness. And this new consciousness, you can see it in terms of wellness, environmental dimension, and inclusive growth. So this is the current status of management and leadership. And when we look around ourselves, we find that there are 4 forces which are influencing us, what we can call as 4 forces model of harmonic globalization. First is the force of market. So for example, if you come to Bangalore and if you go to MG Road, you can see the force of market. There are so many malls, so many shops, okay, so many corporate offices representing the force of market. Then there is force of state or the force of government. So if you move towards Vidhan Sabha, you can see the force of the government. Then force of people, or what we can call capillary action, grassroots. So if you go to Freedom Park, you can see a lot of people gathering there and shouting some slogans representing the force of people. And then the fourth is the force of self. So these are the 4 forces which are influencing us as individuals, as family, as institutions, as organizations, businesses, and everything what is happening in the society. Now we can use the 4 lions idea to understand these 4 forces. So lion on the right side is representing the market. Lion on the left side is representing the state or the government. line looking at front of us is representing the people or a capillary action, and the hidden line is representing the human being. So these are the four forces. When these four forces are in balance, then there is harmony in society. If there is no balance, then there will be disorder in society. So we can put it like a swastika. Now, why swastika? Because swastika is a symbol of harmony. So when the four forces are in harmony, it represents the society in a harmonious manner. And if these four forces are not in harmony, they are at cross purposes, then there is disorder in the society. So this is how we can understand the idea of four forces. Now, even the corporate model has been undergoing a change. Initially, the focus used to be on profit maximization. Then the focus shifted to what is known as value addition, that is economic value addition. Then came the idea of what we call values addition. So in addition to value addition, we have to ask this question, is there values addition? And now we are talking about happiness addition. So for happiness addition, we need to take into consideration what we call the 4E model. 4E stands for efficiency, equity, that is social equality, ethics, and ecology. So these are the basic 4Es of good governance. So this is the 4E model. On the right side is efficiency, on the left side is equity, and on vertical side, the bottom is ethics and the top is ecology. So this is the model which is now needed. Ethics is very much part of this model. The traditional model of management was only efficiency oriented, and it did not consider the ethics, equity, and ecology into consideration. But now the new model has come, and that is the 4E model. Now, how is the role of corporations changing? So as I mentioned earlier, profit maximization. So that was the maximizing the wealth of shareholders. And then it was realized that there is not one stakeholder, but there are many employees are also stakeholders, customers are stakeholders, suppliers are stakeholders, society is a stakeholder, government is a stakeholder, and therefore you need to cater to the multiple stakeholders. Then came the idea of corporate citizen. Just like you are supposed to be a good citizen of a nation, similarly corporates should also have good behavior and demonstrate that they are good corporate citizens. And then now is the idea coming, which is the corporates as social institutions. Because corporates are product of society, and therefore they have to make contribution to society, and therefore they have to act as social institutions. So this is the change which we are seeing. Now, in order to understand the world, there is what we call the source of window of relationship or interaction between two individuals. So the question which we need to ask is, who is the other? Who are the others with whom we are dealing? So the answer to this question can be in different levels. The first level is that the other person is selfish. So this is what we call the selfish gene model of human beings. Second step is self-interest. So at the self-interest level, you are only interested in yourself, do not care for others. Third is enlightened self-interest. Here you care not only for yourself, but also for the others who are there with you in your society. And fourth step is the ethics and values. And the fifth step is the spirituality. So this is how we can understand the evolution of the self from the selfish gene to the spirituality level. Now, if you look at self-esteem idea, that has come from the field of biology. There is a famous scientist known as Richard Dawkins from UK, who wrote a book under the title Self-Esteem, and he studied the gene behavior and came to the conclusion that the genes are always behaving in a selfish manner. Then the self-interest idea comes from the field of economics, and self-actualization idea comes from the field of psychology. Self-ethicalization, that is the idea which is coming from the field of ethics and values or the field of philosophy. And then the self-realization, that is the field of spirituality. So we as individuals have to move from step 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 and ultimately to 5. This is the basic model of self-evolution. So the question is, who is the other? And how is your behavior with respect to the other? So the other could be my enemy, other is competitor, other is my friend, partner, or associate, other is my brother and sister, and other is my own reflection. So when the other is your enemy, then your behavior will be of a particular type. Now, during ancient times, there used to be a lot of wars between the kings. And those wars, the root cause of the war was that the other king is your enemy. Others are competitors. When you come to the field of management or economics, then you see the competition. So the other corporate, other person is your competitor. Other can be a friend or a partner or associate. Other is your brothers and sisters. Swami Vivekananda's famous sentence of brothers and sisters in 1894 at Parliament of Religions is even still today considered very valid. And the last one is self is other and the other is self. So the two are the same. So here is what we call the ascending the so-so ladder. So from war to oneness. So when other is enemy, the war model is there. When other is competitor, then competition model is there, and you use the ideas from strategic management. When other is friend or partner, the model is cooperation model. When others is brothers and sisters, then it is the connectivity model or the support model. And finally, the oneness model. So these are the different ways in which human behavior can be seen. Now here is what I will present, what I call the theory T of ethics and management. So theory T, here T stands for the total view of life. So total view of life can be considered in terms of T1, T2, and T3. T1 is transactional, T2 is transformational, and T3 is transcendental. For example, when there is a transaction, so everything is transaction. So in the market, everything happens in a transactional basis. When you interact in the society, then it's no more transactional, but you do some service to others and create a transformation. So that is the transformation. And when you do the yoga meditation for your self-improvement, that is the transcendental. So today is the Yoga International Day. So today the people tend to be more transcendental in their nature. So this is the T dimension of theory T. Then there is a C dimension. C stands for complete view of nature. So C is C1 plus C2 plus C3. So C1 represents competition. So when Darwin studied nature, he only saw competition in nature. But C2, there is more in nature than just competition. There is a lot of cooperation in nature. So that is C2. And then there is C3, connectivity. Everything in nature is connected with each other. So that is the C principle. And then comes the P principle. And that is the holistic view of human personality, P for personality. So that is P1 plus P2 plus P3. P1 is the lower self, P2 is the middle self, and P3 is the higher self. For example, if you are a highly greedy and greed-oriented person, then you are operating from lower self. If you are a goodness-oriented person, then you are operating from P2. And if you are a godness-oriented person, then you are operating from higher self. So the individuals appear or behave in these three manners. Now, when you put all these ideas together, you get what we call the TCP matrix. And this matrix can be seen in human society in almost every walk of life. So in the lower part of this matrix is P1, C1, P1. Second part is T2, C2, P2. And the third part is T3, C3, P3. So T1, C1, P1 basically represent the current ideology or philosophy of economics, commerce, and management. T2, C2, P2 represent the idea of ethics, and T3, C3, P3 represent the idea of spirituality. So this complete matrix will give us the perspective on why ethics and spirituality are important in management. So we need a new vision. And new vision is what I call combining the demand and supply with idea of ethics or dharma. Thought and action with the idea of karma or action. And then work ethos with the idea of swadharma, which is responsibilities. So this is the new management philosophy which is required. Now, how this philosophy is reflected in market, society, and self. So here is a diagram. In this diagram, there are three spaces. The Y shape, which you will divide the circle into three spaces. So the right side represents the market. So we can represent it by demand and supply curve. So this is based on what we call profit, competition, and self-interest. So if you have studied economics, you will study this as the foundation of economics. Profit, competition, and self-interest. But once you move towards society, in the society you want to see the balance, and that is why seesaw is there. And society cares about justice, rights, and duties. And even our constitution is based on justice, rights, and duties. And then on the top of this diagram is the self, that is love, compassion, and devotion, LCD. So when we look at the PCS, JRD, and LCD, these are the 9 fundamental values which govern human behavior and also the human society and nations and the whole world. And then, as I mentioned earlier also during my inaugural address, that we can understand the idea of human values and spiritual values through the 4 flowers metaphor. So here are the flowers, the cactus representing the survival values, rose representing the humanistic values. There are thorns even in rose, but overall rose, as we all know, is a beautiful flower which we give in gift to others or prepare garlands and offer in the temples. Then tulip represents the spiritual values, and the lotus represents the cosmic or eternal values. So this is how all the idea of values can be represented. Now, in some organization, you will find that people are operating at the cactus level. There is a need to create a transformation from the cactus to the rose, to the tulip, and perhaps to lotus. Now, the problem with the cactus is there are too many thorns, and cactus represents negative energy or the negative values in the society. The rose represents, as I mentioned, positive values, positive energy. And tulip represents the spiritual energy, and lotus represents the divine energy. So this is how you can understand the idea of human values in a very simple manner. A simple question which you have to ask is, are there too many cactus in your institution, organization, or business? Or there are roses, or there are tulips, or are there also the lotuses? So this is how we need to look at the whole new idea. And this means we need to move towards what I call the New Earth Shastra. One of my books title is The New Earth Shastra Towards Holistic Development and Management. Now this has implications of, this represents the implications of ethics in economics, commerce, management, and leadership. New Earth Shastra is based on what I mentioned earlier, 4E model, the efficiency, equity, social equity or equality, ethics, and ecology. So that is the foundation of the New Earth Shastra. So there is a need for a change. During ancient times, you all know, Earth Shastra was the foundation book for managers and for creation of wealth. That was in the context of the kingdoms. Then came another book, Adam Smith's book, Wealth of Nations. So that was for the national context. And then came the globalization context. And so economics, commerce, and management books became popular. And now there is a need for another book, and that is what we call the idea of New Earth Shastra. So these are the basic ideas. And if you are interested more in my writings, then here are some of the books which I can suggest it to you. The first book is Management in New Age, Western Windows, Eastern Doors. Second one is New Mantras and Corporate Corridors. Third one is New Earth Shastra Towards Holistic Development and Management. Fourth one is New Ideas in Strategic Thinking and Management in Knowledge to Your New Age Mantras. Now, why I called my book as Western Windows, Eastern Doors, the first book? Because the purpose of the windows is to look outside. And looking outside means looking at atom, looking at apple falling, looking at stars, and then describing the laws of nature. So that is the methodology of the science. And it so happened that it started developing in Europe. And that is why the title Western Windows. The purpose of doors is to come inside, experience, and then go outside. And so this is the methodology which was perfected in the East and particularly in India. That is why Eastern Doors. So today, now in the 21st century, time has come to combine the windows and the doors, because you cannot have a house only with windows or only with doors. So there is a need to combine.
Sir, audience.
So that is the basic idea of this book. So with this, I conclude, and in case any questions are there, you can ask me. Thank you very much. Dr. Lakshmana, are you there?
Yes, we are there, sir. There are no issues. So if any questions are there from audience, from the participants, and you can raise your questions and we can have deliberation and discussions with the sirs. Any questions with respect to human values and ethics? Since sir is a master.
Sir, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
I am Dr. Srinivasan from Pondicherry.
Yeah,
Sir, you have given a very good presentation on ethics. I have one question.
tell me.
What is the role of corporates?
Role of?
What is the role of corporates in bringing ethics in companies? And also you highlight about some of the corporate social responsibilities. Can you give some examples with regard to corporate social responsibilities, which are very essential for community at large?
So first, corporates have to have good governance, because if there is no good governance, then there will be a lot of negative energy being generated, and corporates will end up into controversies. So that is why I call this idea as character competence of the corporation. So a corporation must have a very high character competence. Just like from an individual, you expect high character competence, similarly corporates also have to demonstrate high character competence. Now you can prepare a 2x2 matrix. Core competence on x-axis, character competence on y-axis. So if you look at core competence can be low or high, character competence can be low and high. So you have 4 combinations: low core competence, low character competence. Core competence, as you know, leads to competitive advantage. So low competitive advantage and low character competence, that means survival is a problem. Low core competence, but high character competence. So there you will also come across many individuals who have very high set of values, but they are not competent people. So these people need to focus on improving their competence. Then you have high core competence and low character competence. Unfortunately, many Indian companies fall in this category. And 4th is the ideal type: high character competence and high core competence. So I think only 1 or 2 organizations come to our mind, and that is, for example, Tata's and Amul. So these are the companies which come into mind. Now, regarding the corporate social responsibility, because corporates are product of society, so they have to remain in the society. In order to remain and seek legitimacy in the society, they need to contribute towards society. This is what I call G/T ratio. That means giving oblique taking. So you are taking something from the society, you need to give back to the society. So what is your G/T ratio? Is G/T ratio less than 1? That means giving is less than the taking, or G/T ratio is almost equal to 1, or G/T ratio is greater than 1. So when G/T ratio is greater than 1, that means the corporate is contributing to the society. Now we can see many leaders. This is applicable even at the individual level. There are many leaders who give more to the society than what they take. For example, the teachers and researchers, they give more to the society than what we take from the society. So for them, G/T ratio is greater than 1. So I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is there any other question?
Sir, good morning. Sir, good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Sir, Dr. Shashidhar here from MBA department, Davangere University.
Okay.
Sir, very nice presentation, sir. Now, after your presentation, the whole strategic management process itself we can look it in a different complex and dynamics. So as you said, there are many tools that are there for understanding the competitive advantage and the core competencies of the organizations. As you put across this tool, could you just throw a light from the perspective of strategic management, sir, the metrics that you have explained very well, sir?
Now, if you want to know about the tools, I think I suggest you read my book, New Ideas in Strategic Thinking and Management. So there are many tools in that which will be helpful to you. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you so
This
much, sir.
book is very easily available on Amazon and other websites.
Yes, sir. Yes, 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 sir.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
one more question. Is there any difference between corporate management and corporate governance?
Corporate management and
Corporate governance.
governance.
Governance and management.
Say for good management, you need to have good governance. So
Okay.
the two are interrelated.
Okay.
If you do not have good governance, then the management will not be considered good. No?
Okay.
So the two are interrelated. Okay.
Sir, thank you, Srinivas. Sir, there is one more question in the chat box.
Uh-huh.
Sharda, I need to know that how startups can incorporate fulfillment of ethics every time in the current Indian scenario. That is a question by Sharada Agarwal.
No, the startups should from the very beginning enthuse this idea of ethics and values in their working. So if they are able to enthuse that, then their long-term survivability will be high. Otherwise, they may survive for a short term, and in the long run, they may fall down. So that is the answer to this question.
I
Okay.
hope you got the answer. Any other questions from any participants?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Can I, sir?
Yeah, please.
This is Dr. Umesh Chandra from Jain University, Bangalore. Very nice insight about the new models you have given, sir. Thank you very much. It was a nice presentation. My question is how we can relate a business with a spirituality. You're talking about the spirituality aspects in your model, sir. Can you throw some more light on how we can relate a business with a spirituality? Thank you, sir.
So the spirituality simply means the the values of love, compassion, and devotion. So when you deal with the human beings, if you express love and compassion, then that human being will be willing to put in much more effort than his usual self. So that is one dimension of it. And second thing is the spirituality is very much needed for the well-being of your staff and well-being of everybody. And that is why yoga and meditation have become so popular across the world. And today happens to be the International Yoga Day. So on this day, I think it is very clear that we need this as a future path for the corporates and organizations.
Sir, there
is a
chat
question.
box. Sir,
Any effort to make CSR and artificial intelligence? I think somebody from the field of artificial intelligence should be able to answer this. But my feeling is that yes, artificial intelligence can be applied to the CSR field to monitor the projects and improve the monitoring process.
Sir, we have one more question.
Yeah, corporate social responsibility and business ethics. See, the corporate social responsibility creates a linkage between the corporate and the society. While the business ethics, the focus is on the ethical dimension or ethical side of the business. So whether you are doing your business in a through transparent manner, through trustworthy approach? Are you paying the taxes on time and regularly? So those are the dimensions of business ethics. So the two are different from each other, but you need the ethics also in the social responsibility of CSR. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
There is, I'm not able to read it fully. This is Tata's, okay. Even though many companies were maintaining human values and ethics, but the political impact on them is more, which means even though they were managing good ethics and striving for betterment of society, but the political impact bothers them a lot. For example, when Ratan Tata wants to enter into aviation, see the political force is like in the 4-force model which I mentioned. The government represents the political force. So that is the reality of the corporates. So you have to learn how to deal with the corporate forces, because the government or the